All right, I'll call this, I hope, final meeting of the Judiciary Committee for this session. We're going to take up House Resolution 519. This is a House Study Committee on Fishing Access to Freshwater Resources. And Representative Jenkins, if you want to tell us about your bill.
Yes, Chairman Gunter, members of the committee, appreciate y'all hearing this resolution this morning. I'm here to present House Resolution 519 to create a study committee on fishing and boating access to freshwater streams. You've been provided letters of support from the Flint River Keepers and the Georgia Wildlife Federation. I'm joined by April Lipscomb, who, if you have any legal questions, she could probably, as an expert, she could probably answer more readily than I can, so I may direct some of the questions to her. So basically, the scope of this study committee is going to be freshwater, non-navigable, this is non-tidal, non-coastal type waters. I got involved in this. This issue came up in my district, Meriwether County, my home county, set to establish a water trail in partnership with the Georgia River Network. And very soon after this effort started, it had problems. We had public access point that I would say was rather an informal access point. It was basically a right-of-way next to a bridge where, as long as I can remember, the public had been accessing the river. After the water trail started, I think probably increasing the traffic on that area, the private landowners blocked that access, which rendered the water trail, it basically made it where it was too long between access points, so it effectively made it non-viable anymore. Also, right next to that area, a landowner who, the Flint River at that area is non-navigable, so a landowner got the Flint River or the Meriwether Flint River Water Trail people. They had to remove any references to fishing from their literature because he controlled the fishing there. And DNR started citing people for fishing. So in a very short amount of time, the public basically lost access to get to the river and the ability to fish, which is something that historically they've always enjoyed there. Downstream, next county down, Upson County, there's an active lawsuit currently. And this is adjacent to state property where Upson County operates a campground and boat launch picnic area. And again, the landowner asserting that the public has no fishing rights on that river. So as I begin to get into this issue, I found that this is coming up all over the state of Georgia. Many times it's in the vicinity of where the state has made investments in public access infrastructure, and the Georgia is vast. We're the largest state east of Mississippi, so obviously from the mountains of North Georgia to the coast, we have very vast differences in our topography and our communities. So again, that makes this issue all the more complex. As I got into this, of course, like any issue, I tried to understand it. The law is conflicting and unclear on this access and fishing rights. We have two tests for navigability, the state and the federal, which don't agree. We have the public trust doctrine versus private property rights here. Most legislation from this on this matter is from the 19th century, and all of this predates the modern era of sport fishing and boating, which the second and third order effects of this is a $2.1 billion industry for the state of Georgia. In all of this, Georgia is not alone. There's states all over the country that are running into these same issues with access and fishing rights on their rivers. Wyoming and New Mexico, I think they've reached some resolution between court cases and that resulted in legislation. So all of this points to the need to understand this issue and if appropriate, or create a study committee to understand this issue and if appropriate, propose legislation to provide clarity. We need to protect private property and but we also need to ensure that the public maintains the same level of access that it's historically enjoyed to these resources. With that, I request your favorable consideration, and I'll stand for questions.
Representative Smith, or
Mr.
Chairman
Chair-
Smith.
Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
All right. Representative Evans.
Thank you. Just one quick question. Laudable goals here. Who are the private landowners that are most likely blocking? Is it industry or is it residential?
All that I'm aware of is property owners, not commerce, not industry, just private property owners is
Thank
what
you.
I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just comment that as being on the wrong end of a gun for canoeing down the Etowah River, you know, I didn't like that experience, but at the same time, I understand the rights of the person. I think he owned both sides of the river.
Yeah.
So your study committee is going to, I guess, look at all of the issues regarding that.
Correct.
All right. Yeah, it's not a pleasant thing. Who's got 11? Representative Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question for the bill author, but now after hearing you say you're at the other end of a gun barrel, I kind of want to ask you a few. Just real quick, and I'm going to support your study committee. I think it's worth looking into. But there's nothing that would have prevented the local government in either of those situations, either in your home county or up in Upson County, I believe, from purchasing a right-of-way access or an easement access from those private property owners, was there?
Yes, if the county could secure property, yes, they could purchase land on the river.
Do you know if they engage in those conversations with the landowner?
There's currently a project underway that's being negotiated.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any further questions for the author? The young lady sitting beside you here, is she going to be telling us any?
I was just here to answer any questions y'all might have about the conflicting law, but it seems like there may not be. But if there are questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. All right. And no one else to speak, I take it, on this? All right. I'll take that motion now.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, move to pass.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Got your bill.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll sign all the paperwork and get it up to the Rules Committee.
All right.
Got one more day after today.